I want to talk to our guests again now, so let's have the mics up and say hello again to Paul Davidson.
Hello.
And Netty Stevens. Pleased to meet you all. I tell you what, we're going to start with Netty's story, aren't we?
Yes.
Okay, I thought it's 7 minutes past 5. Let's see how many listeners we can make cry.
Okay.
Okay, would you like to tell us your story from the beginning?
Yes, well, I've not always been blind. I'm classically blind, so I've got no useful vision. In November 2000, November the 8th, I come home from work, put the car on the drive, went to bed, woke up in the morning, couldn't see anything out my left eye, thought there was a quilt over it and that lot. And I told my husband, Fred, he took me to the doctors who sent me to the hospital, found out I had retinal detachment, operated but they couldn't do anything about it. And I was just getting used to that, and then 4 weeks later, it happened in my right eye. So I couldn't see nothing. Back to the doctors, to the hospital, woke up after the operation and I could see lights. I could tell you when it's night and day and some lights, but at the same time, any lights in my eyes hurt. So thinking I couldn't carry on, I couldn't drive, I couldn't go to work. I've got 5 sons, I couldn't look after my sons.
5 sons?
Yes.
Wow.
Told my husband to leave me, take the sons. Felt like I couldn't be a wife or mum anymore. And I stood in the kitchen with tablets, going to end it. So I thought I didn't want to carry on. I thought this is no more life for me here. And my youngest son came in and he asked for his tea. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? So
he asked for his tea. He didn't ask you what you were doing, like, just asked for his tea.
He didn't notice it because I had my back to him and I had the tablets in my hand and he didn't notice. And I don't know, I just felt like my world just fell apart and I was like that for about 18 months. And, well, not like it now, but that's how it started off. But no, it was really tough. I went through every emotion going, didn't I?
It's very emotional.
It was really strong.
How old were your sons when this happened?
Well, my youngest one was 10 and my oldest one was 17. So they had the mummy side, very independent, confident, happy-go-looking. Looking
rather lovely, if I may say so.
And then suddenly just someone who wouldn't even go out the house. I wouldn't go out the door, didn't want to go out the door. So I kept thinking, if I go out the door, I'm going to fall over. I just didn't know. It's like I didn't know how to walk, didn't know how to do anything. I couldn't cook, couldn't look after my sons, couldn't see if my son was tidy, taken to school. Just couldn't do anything. Just felt totally useless. Terrible.
That's really terrible. I don't know how you coped with that. I mean, one eye's bad enough, but just 4 weeks between the 2 eyes.
It was like I said, it's just such short distance. What would you like to say, just having full sight, having nothing. And
do they know why?
No, they said it happens to, I think it's something in every 70-odd thousand people, you know. And at the time I felt like I was the unlucky one, but not now. I felt I'd look, you know, I'm really happy now, but at the time, yeah.
Well, how did you turn that all around and start to get out of the house?
Well, what turned it round is when my son came in and asked for his tea. And I'm thinking, what am I doing to him? You know, this is like months down the line. I'm thinking, what am I doing to him? So the next day I phoned up social services and said, please, I need help. And, you know, because they did offer me help before and I wasn't ready. And she left me a number and she said, when you're ready, you ring me. And her name was Mavis at the time. So I rang her and said, I need help. She said, she'd come out next couple of days. And she taught me, put me on a cooking course. I learned how to cook. I learned to touch type. I learned Braille. It took me 6 weeks to learn touch type in Braille. I just went in the bedroom and learned that. And then she said, have you ever thought about a guide dog? Well, I had a Jack Russell at the time, thinking, yeah, okay, type thing.
I was going to crack a joke then, Paul, but I won't.
You can crack a joke.
Go for it, Ella.
You definitely can crack a joke if it's...
Well, I was just wondering if that's where Paul came into the story.
Ouch!
Sorry, wicked sense of humour.
Yeah, you've got to have a good sense of humour. So I thought, and then Fred said to my husband, he goes, go for it. He said, what are you going to lose? So they brought me out, because they always bring you out the dog to meet you first and see if you get on with you, and then they meet the family, and then they have to meet your dog and things like that. Brought me out a lovely golden retriever called BT. And then I had to go away and train, and which is another big hurdle. I'm thinking of leaving my family, leaving Fred with the kids, and I'm moving away for 3 weeks to go and train with this dog. Strange place, no confidence and things like that. But it did me the world of good, actually, because it first started building my confidence. And I went through the training with the BT, and I remember the first time I got home and did my routes and all that, I sat in the bus and I burst out crying. And the bus driver said to me, he goes, "What's up with you?" I said, "I'm really happy. I'm out on my own." And that's when my life started again. And I felt like I've had two lives, and that's when my second life started.
Right.
And since then, like I say, I've got a degree in BACP in counselling. I've done my Spanish. I've got a black belt in karate. That's why Paul always behaves himself.
I think I'm going to from now on.
And we're going to be talking about the running. So.
Oh yes, we'll talk about that in just a moment. I think.
Yeah.
What we'll do now is we'll just play a bit of a tune so that the listeners have got something to listen to as well as us, and then we'll get back to talking to Paul and Netty. Although Paul's not said a lot yet, but we'll get to him in a few minutes.
Call us now on Grantham 577 522. Email us studio@gravityfm.net.
From Grantham, Lincolnshire, feel the music, Gravity FM.
Oh dear, I was talking again there. Amy McDonald, that was, with Automatic. Now I'm back with my guest. We just had a fascinating discussion about guide dogs, which we'll come back to later on. But we've got to the part in Netty's story that's going to talk about running. So I really do want to hear about this. So do you want to sort of pick up where you just got to?
Well, like I say, I've never used to run, before I lost my sight. I heard of a service through guide dogs, what you're saying, it's called a My Guide service. And I said, I'd like to go to the gym, which I did. And then I said, I'd love to run the London Marathon. Well, the person who was volunteer took me to the gym. She laughed at me. She goes, "I don't do running." And that's when she first paired me up with a lady called Sheena. And she paired me up with Paul. And you can take it from there.
You can, Paul. You can take it from there.
Well, Netty was at a park run. I'll rewind a bit. I'll tell you a little bit about me first. So, I was diagnosed with glaucoma, and after a few weeks, it hit me really what it was all about. You could go blind with glaucoma, and it was a real shock. And I got quite depressed, thinking that I might lose my sight, and go through what Netty went through, losing the ability to do everything that was precious to her. And then I went to a park run, which is another subject we could chat all day about. But I went to a park run and I was feeling quite low, really, about the future. And I saw this lady in the distance, blind lady, being guided by a guide runner. And it was a eureka moment. I thought, life's not over with sight loss. It can still happen if you've got lucky enough to have a runner that will guide you. So I went over and had a chat with Netty and a guide, and they told me what I needed to do to become a guide runner. Which I wanted to do instantaneously. I wanted to do that while I've got vision, to help out where I can. So they told me where to get trained, how to go about it, and I went off and did the course and became a guide runner. And not long after that, Netty says, "Oh, would you guide me to train for the London Marathon with Sheena?" And so I said, "Of course I will. Of course I will." So this was back in 2016.
You were a good runner then anyway, weren't you, already?
Well, I've to be honest, I've been running for 35 years, and I was going a bit stale, and to be quite frank, I was fed up with it, because I was slowing down and tired. But this has given me a new lease of life to be a guide runner, because there's no pressure on me now as an individual to to run really fast and achieve. Now it's what I want to do is give my love of running to somebody else that probably can't do it by themselves. So that's where being a guide runner ticks all the boxes for me now. So I can share my passion and love of the sport with people that probably can't do it by themselves.
The marathon you wanted to run, that was for which year?
That was 2017.
So you did it in 2017
I did.
and then again in 2019?
Yeah, it wasn't very
Amazing.
successful in 2017, but I did do it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got injured on the 6 mile. So, well, I was injured beforehand, and then it just hit me on the 6 mile, so I walked the last 20.
Right.
So
But you still finished? You
I still finished,
it?
and Paul was waiting for me at the end.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant. But this year was a better experience, was it?
Oh, do you know, this was a lot better experience. I didn't get tired till about the 22nd mile, and then I thought I'm a bit too tired now. So we did actually go off a course and went to Fountain Pub.
Yeah, we needed a toilet break. There's lose every mile in the London Marathon.
Oh, but they get worse and worse, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a queue at them all. So
So Fountain Pub.
it's 18 miles. Netty says, I need the loo. And I says, can you wait to 19 miles where the loo is? She says, I don't think I can. So I said, we better get off the course and find one then.
So we walked into the pub, didn't we? And they said, "You're going the wrong way." And I went, "Yeah, I know."
Oh, dear.
It
So how
happens.
many marathons have you done, Paul?
Well, I've done the London 7 times now, actually. So,
7 times?
yeah,
Right.
It's not my favourite distance, to be honest. And I said, back in something like 2000, I said I'd never run another marathon until this one here asked me if I would guide her. And how could you say no? So,
Oh, you
yeah.
couldn't.
No.
This is a fantastic story. Right, let me just put some music on and then we'll chat some more in a moment.
Keep it here in the afternoon, live from the heart of Grantham, Ela Watts.
Real local radio, Gravity FM.
So that's the Pet Shop Boys there with What Have I Done to Deserve This? And the voice of the lovely and late and fabulous Dusty Springfield in there as well. Now, we're talking today to Paul Davidson and also to Netty Stevens. Now, they are marathon runners with a bit of a difference because Netty is blind and Paul is a guide runner.
Yep, that's it.
You don't have the uniform.
We do wear a vest that says guide runner on, so people know that we're a little bit different and they just need to give us a little bit of space, actually.
So now, did you do this for a charity?
Yes, it's through Guide Dogs, and it's a service what they own, like an umbrella, and one of the services they offer is a service called My Guide, and it's through the My Guide service that they do guide runners. They do all different guides, whether you want to go to the theatre, whether you want to go to swimming or shopping, or you just want to go to a concert, something like that. We help get you a volunteer what could take you, because you don't always want to do stuff for your even if you've got family, you don't always want to do that certain hobby with a family, and your family sometimes don't want to do it with you, so we just set you up and off you go. But they're all trained, they're all qualified, and they're all trained. They haven't make them jump through loopholes. They're all DBS checked and everything like that, so yeah, you're in safe hands.
So you can do almost anything then, presumably.
Yes, the people who go to the garden centre, the only thing we ask them not to do is your weekly shopping. We don't ask you to do that. We show you about online and things like that, but that's the only thing. You can go clothes shopping, things like that, but not your weekly shopping.
Do you raise money for the guide dogs for the blind as well?
Yes, many times I've stood in the supermarket raising money with a collection bucket, and even if every person walked by and put a penny in that bucket, it counts. Just imagine if everybody put a penny in the bucket, how much you would collect.
You would collect
instead of
a
just
lot,
walking
wouldn't
past. I've named a guide dog through me running called Keto in memory of my dad and my father-in-law. We've done blind running at part runs and things like that. We've done different costumes. I've got Paul in it. So, yeah.
What sort of costumes?
He's been a princess.
Not in national radio.
Yeah, he's
Quite
been a
national, but-
princess and things like that.
Oh,
I've
it's as
gotten
good
different
as.
ones. So,
Princess,
yeah.
yeah. It was a red dress.
Yeah,
I think it was a Frozen theme and we was all princesses.
Yeah.
Do you know what, Ella? She said to me, would you mind getting dressed up? And I said, no, I don't mind. And she says, as a princess? I said, no, you're joking. She said, no. I said, well, she said, we're going to do it at Long Eaton. Nobody will know you.
I bet they did after.
I couldn't believe it. Everybody there from Netty's club was there. They all knew me. There was people taking photographs. It was in the national press.
Went on Part 1 UK, actually.
Well, if it made the national press, that's just absolutely brilliant, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Now, here's a cheesy link. You just mentioned a red dress. So
Yeah.
what I want you to do is to introduce this next record and for your special person.
My special person is Fred, my husband. He doesn't do running, but he's been so supportive, not through losing my sight, but through me running. That lot, he does everything. He's amazing cook and everything like that. He's there, he stood at races, and he looks after me guide dogs when I go running. And our wedding song is Lady in Red by Krista Berg. Love you, Fred.
That was Krista Berg and The Lady in Red, just for my lovely guests today, Paul Davidson and Netty Stevens. And first of all, Paul, what do you know about this building that I'm sitting in now in Gravity FM?
Well, this used to be the telephone exchange for Marco's factory. It was a new building back in the late 70s, and it housed the latest electronic telephone exchange, and I was involved with putting over 300 telephones in the factory of Marco's, all around the workshops, in the offices, and we used to wire them all the way back to this room where we sat. Actually, there was a frame that we come and connected everything to, and there was near the entrance door there was a switchboard with a couple of operators sat on there. And trip down memory lane coming in here.
It's a good job that this was the 70s, because if you'd had to plug those things in for all those phones, it would have been a terrible job, wouldn't it?
It would, yeah. I've missed now. Can't see them properly, so...
Oh, right. Has your sight deteriorated with the glaucoma?
Yeah, it has, yeah.
Yeah.
It's under control, touch wood, with eye drops, and I've had surgery. They can't reverse the effects of most eye treatments, actually, most eye conditions, really. Once they've set in, that's it, pretty much it. But they can control things and stop them getting worse, especially with glaucoma. Are
there other things, I mean, in lifestyle, diet, do things like that affect it, or is it just...
Well, it goes hand in hand with most health conditions, really. A sensible diet, don't drink or drink moderately, and don't smoke is the best advice. Green leafy vegetables for eyesight, apparently not carrots.
Yeah, my mum did actually tell me that carrots are good for my eyesight, and I'm still trying.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it is it? But yeah, you never see a rabbit with glasses. That's the very old
Exactly.
joke.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about park runs now, aren't we?
Well, it's thanks to Part 1. Paul will tell you a bit about Part 1, but it's Part 1 what got me going. And believe me, when Paul tells you about it, anybody can go, whether you want to walk, jog or run. Please just turn up, and it's an amazing atmosphere. So, Paul...
Yeah, well, as Netty said, Park Run was the first introduction that Netty had back to running. She went along to it, and she was guided by a guide, Sheena, and that's where I made had the eureka moment of discovering guide running. Was at Newark Park Run, where Netty was running with a guide, and not long after that, I met a guy called Gordon Geach, who was setting up Park Run at Belton House, and got involved with him and helped him set up Belton House Park Run. And it's the most fantastic thing to happen to running. I've been running for 35 years, and Park Run is the best thing that's ever happened for runners.
When is it, Paul?
It's every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock in over 600 locations in the UK, and it's worldwide as well. So when you go on holiday, you can go and do a park run as well. You just sneak off from the family and kids and go and do a park run.
And it's free.
And it's free, yeah. And it's only 5k, and probably if there's going to rename it or brand it again, they probably won't call it a park run, they'd probably call it a park event, because you don't have to run, you can walk as well, and it's fantastic tonic. It's not just about the exercise, which we all know is good for you, whether you're running or walking, but it's about the social aspects of it. It's very sociable. You see familiar faces there each week, and it gets you out of the house, and there's a purpose to get up on a Saturday morning and go and join in and go and have your bit of exercise, and then you can all go to the cafe afterwards and have a cup of tea and cake, which is what I think about most of the time running round.
They always talk about cake or cookies.
And yeah, it's so inclusive as well. Park Run have gone out of the way to make the event inclusive, so they don't celebrate speed. It's not a race. They celebrate inclusiveness. Just taking part, you can time yourself, and you get to know your time that you've done if it's important to you. But it's not about the time really. It's about going along and meeting people. And they support visually impaired people. They'll find guides and give guides a volunteer credit to enable visually impaired people to take part. Quite a few part runs have signers, so if there's deaf people there, they can listen to the briefing, the pre-run briefing. So it's fantastic.
And there's other volunteer roles as well in the hall.
Yeah. As Netty said, it's free to go along. You just print a barcode off and you can just turn up and, you can make your mind up at 5 to 9 and just turn up and run. But not only that, when you've run 50 times, you get a free T-shirt. And if you volunteer, there's lots of volunteer roles. If you volunteer 25 times, you're rewarded as well with a free T-shirt. So it's fantastic. There's nothing not to like about Parkrun.
Now, for the barcode, I think you have to go and register on the Parkrun website.
Yeah,
you?
You just register once online. You fill your name and your date of birth in. That's about it. I don't think you even have to put your address down or anything. And you just print your barcode off. And as long as you take that you can go to any event and compete in the world.
Now, our nearest one is in Belton House Grounds, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's a lovely one at Rutland as well.
At Rutland Water,
Yeah,
yes.
that's
I know a few people who've run round that one.
Melton, Newark is Netty's home park run.
Right.
Netty was at a new one at the inaugural event at Derby on Saturday at Alveston.
So they're still opening up all over the place.
Yes.
There's 5 or 6 in Nottingham. There's a new one opened up near Spalding at Crowland. There's one at Boston.
We've been to London.
We did one in London. Yeah, the home of Parkrun. It all started off by a gentleman called Paul Hewitt, and he was injured and he wanted to get back to running, so he just went for a timed run with his mates around a park called Bushy Park in London, and he thought, what a good idea this is, and so they started doing it every Saturday morning, and some of the mates said they wanted to do one at a nearby parkrun, so he set them up with a system, and it just grew from that. That was probably 14 years ago now, and it's just taken off massively. Over 600 events in the UK now. I
remember talking about it when it first started, because yes, I have been on the radio that long.
Have you done one, Ella?
Oh, I knew you were going to ask me that. No, I haven't.
Right, we'll print your barcode off after when we...
It seems a lot of trouble to go to for a free T-shirt, but yes, I will. I will register. I will. I'll come along and I'll be very sociable.
Belton, you'll love it. You want to go Saturday after Saturday.
I know Mike would like to go, my husband.
Mike, I know Mike. I've been talking to Mike, and what Ella hasn't told you, good listener, is that Ella's done the London Marathon as well in 2017.
No, I just walked. Yeah.
It's 26.2 miles. You've still done it, Ella.
Do you know? I got a bit carried away because I was saying to you, when I got to the starting line, everybody had gone because they were a lot faster than me, everybody was. So I was stood there alone with 2 rows of people, one either side of the road, and all the children hold their hands up for a high five, and I couldn't miss any of them out. So I had my Fitbit on. I walked 29.6 miles to do the marathon because I wandered, I wandered.
But like I say, you mentioned walk, whatever you do, you're doing the same distance everybody else. You've earned that medal.
I love my medal. I look at it every morning and think, you see, you are some use.
And your husband was a decent runner. I know he's done a sub-4-hour marathon. Lots of people.
1988, I believe.
So he needs to go along and experience the parkrun atmosphere.
I'll let him go then. And I might even go with him to keep my eye on him. Let's play a new song. This is a new one by Lighthouse Family, and it's called My Salvation. Well, I enjoyed that. It's the first time I've played that on radio. That was My Salvation 2019 song from the Lighthouse Family. Now, we've got to wind it up with our guests because there's lots of things I haven't done this hour, but you probably haven't noticed. But let's just finish off. We're going to talk about... We want some volunteers, don't we?
Always grateful for volunteers. Well, firstly, I would encourage anybody that fancies giving guiding a go. When I wish I'd known about guiding 30 years ago when I was running the fastest, because I'd love to be able to guide at speed, to run a sub-3-hour marathon. There's some fast visually impaired people out there that just need fast guide runners, so I can't guide the fastest guys now, but when some people seem to think being a guide runner is a sacrifice. Well, it's not. Let me tell you, it's not. It's the best experience you could ever have. Giving somebody else the freedom to run. I'm not going to celebrate my own personal bests anymore or running fast, but when Netty or any other person I'm guiding has a good run, I get to celebrate with them, and 2 people sharing that is absolutely fantastic. Even just sharing a training run with somebody else is brilliant. And who's responsible for Netty really in life? should the council look after her welfare? No, it's all about society. It's a mum and dad's not going to go running with her. Our club friends can run with Netty, and yeah, we all need to do a little bit. And if anybody's interested in guiding, contact Ella and she can pass my details on, or get involved with guide dogs, contact Guide Dogs or South Links Blind Society.
Well, Susan Swinburne down at South Links Blind Association, she'll put you right on everything. She really will. And I think the person looking after you is probably you, Netty.
I definitely think the person looking after me is me, but like I say, I can put my trainers on, but I can't get out without these guys. But anybody who's visually impaired, blind, positive, whatever we all prefer to be called, please don't hesitate. Just get out. There's going to be there. We're going to get the people to help you. Get out, and it don't just help you physically. It helps you mentally, socially. They're all about you. Just get out. Don't be scared. I know it's a big step, but just get out and do it.
And you don't have to start off running. You can start off walking. There's guys that will walk with you, especially at park run. Anybody that's visually impaired that would like to start the journey back into fitness, it can just start with a 100-metre walk or a 200-metre walk and just build it up gradually, slowly, probably to eventually to a jog or a jog walk. So it doesn't have to all be done in one go. And there's people there to help.
It sounds fantastic, and I think you are just truly inspirational people. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming
Netty
in.
is.
Thank you.
Well, and Netty, you
are.
are amazing. So Netty Stevens, who is blind, and she's been talking to us about all the challenges she's faced, and your achievement, the London Marathon, is just the tip of the iceberg, really, isn't it?
It
You've
is.
achieved so much else. I think you're fabulous. And Paul Davidson, who is a guide runner, so leads blind people to marathons, park runs. It's just fabulous what you do. Thank you very much for coming in, guys.
Thank you.
And I've got a song for you, Paul, now. It's quite appropriate, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Do you want to introduce it?
Yeah, because we've been talking about park runs, I thought if Ella doesn't mind playing it, we'll have Park Life by Blur.
Right, that is what is coming up now. Do you want to play it for anybody special?
My wife, please, Janice. And all the park runners that might go to Belton House on Saturday, including Mick and Ella.
Oh, my goodness. No pressure then.
Get the
Right.
trainers out.
I'm just going to argue my case. I'll leave you listening to this.